Yes,
So,
yes. We're about ready to come back on here. We're about ready to come back on
okay,
here. Okay.
okay.
You may have been hearing me here talk to Rick Staples here as we are going to be talking to the Tennessee House of Representative. But let's see here. What district out of Knoxville is it that you officially do represent, Rick Staples here?
It's the 15th district, also known as the fabulous 15th.
I see. The fab. Well, hey, that's a civic pride. I've always thought that someone who originally proposed for the people of Tennessee. Tell us how the bill that you originally proposed has been changed and what we're going to have in terms of sports gambling in Tennessee come July 1.
Yeah, thank you so much, first and foremost, for having me on your show again and just giving this opportunity to kind of explain the reasoning for the legislation, my intent with it, and as we move through the process. So whenever you try to present, I'm sure you know in your I try to operate as a legislator is listen and work in cooperation with my colleagues. Obviously, this was a bipartisan effort. But as you start listening to the stakeholders, individuals that this may affect, you want to make sure that you're taking in all considerations and just make a better document to present to law for the state of Tennessee. So we went from brick and mortar, and we always had the online, mobile, and interactive piece, but we dropped the brick and mortar piece simply because a individual that owns a business could still have sporting information and could rent iPads for individuals in their quote-unquote possible sports lounge in order to have or take advantage of having the sporting information. Now, having said that, one thing that we did was try to get dollars to go to locals. So 15% of the overall growth will be going back from the state's treasurer to local entities per capita dollars to help with infrastructure and road improvement. And so that was a big piece for me, and that's what I was really trying to do.
Now, one of the things about this new law coming to Tennessee is that I know you mentioned before that you wanted it in basically sports bars, not necessarily casinos, that sort of thing, but you could maybe have a kiosk at a sports bar and then, bet on the game, that sort of thing. But that won't be coming out. Now you will, but what instead it'll be is that you can have it approved online, okay? Because a lot of times you see sports books. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if it is a sports book that is located in the United States, let's say New Jersey, they will not accept a bet if you have a Tennessee address or you are placing it from Tennessee. However, offshore books, Bovada comes to mind, would accept that because they're not under, This is going to allow people in Tennessee to perhaps bet with a FanDuel, a DraftKings, something like that. DraftKings, I know, is one of the likely Tennessee online sports books. But that's really what this has done. Is that correct, or is there more?
No, those are great facts and also a great question. So, yeah, currently, even when it comes to, we would have to have amended the budget to allow for table or casino gambling, and nobody wanted to take that task on. It was hard enough dealing with this 30-some-odd page document that we're going to overseas entities. But because of technology, we are able to geofence Tennessee and some of our neighboring states that are, of course, border us closely through cities could cross over and create accounts that would be just locked in straight into Tennessee. And if you mentioned Fanboy and other online gaming entities, they would have to have their servers within the borders of the state of Tennessee in order to participate in this, helping us capture even more dollars to operate in the state of Tennessee. So what we're trying to aren't going to nefarious organizations overseas, but keeping those dollars at home for good use
I want to ask you this. There's talk in Bristol, Virginia. You know where that is. And the old shopping mall there that went under a while back, there's talk of turning it into a casino. And I mean, there's a lot of, I's to dot, T's to cross before that comes up. It's an ongoing conversation. I, however, do believe that probably if there is a casino that would come to Bristol, a sports book in southern West Virginia right now, and it also seems that there are political winds that in Virginia that might be appreciative of having sports gambling in potential casinos. It's not official. Let me ask you this. Rather than stay in Bristol, Tennessee, or Kingsport, or wherever, and watch it at their local sports bar or in the comfort of their own homes, do you think that might be the impetus, a potential casino in Bristol, Virginia, to bring the brick and mortar sports gambling to Tennessee?
Let me present this to you with this point, is that we have made probably centuries, but we're the only non-gaming state in the nation that is doing it online, mobile, interactive only. Mm-hmm. So our piece of legislation is a model that other states are looking to take on because they see how things are moving. People like to do things by convenience. What's easier for them? Of course, people love the casino atmosphere. They may love to visit while they're there. They may want to go by a sports book. But if you can just open up your phone or get that operation allows for so much convenience that it will not affect the market that we're going after, because people look for things now through technology to give them the ease in doing things that they enjoy. So I don't think it will let people follow the legislation we were able to pass.
We're talking to Rick Staples. He's a representative out of Knoxville. He introduced a bill to legalize sports gambling, and online it will happen. It was a bipartisan support, as a matter of fact, I know also came about for this to happen. Now, you mentioned that some of the money will be going to gambling addictions. I find this to be very important. Years ago, I did a show on this station, both end sides of the coin right there. Tell me a little bit about what the money for gambling addiction, how that is going to go to, so that there will be fewer people that lose their entire paycheck based on betting on football games online or such.
Yeah, going back to our original conversation, that when you did show would have things in place, and I was looking to do some things that would have some restrictions in place, and also some support for individuals. And through working this bill out with, and first of all, let me say, you never can make history without the support of others. I have no qualms about giving people the proper credit, and I am so appreciative of individuals seeing what I was trying to do, my intent, and believing in me, and let me explain to them what I was trying to do, and then getting on board with that. Once I had conversations with stakeholders and other members of the General Assembly, they saw the intent of my legislation, what I was trying to do. And so working in concert with others, we were able to make history. Now, going back to your question, we saw a need to put something in place to give some protections beyond the rules that the Lottery Board would establish through the Gaming Council that would kind of help individuals that are reaching out for it. Also put some protections and borders in place so where people can kind of see where maybe 80% of those dollars are going to the lottery for education, going directly to that fund. Once again, 15% is going to locals for infrastructure and road improvement, but 5% of that is going to the Department of Mental Health, looking to support not-for-profits that deal with that, established organizations as well as the department of themselves, and also create some grant opportunities for people that may want to deal specifically with this in the mental health arena.
He is Rick Staples, and for better or worse, he has brought sports gambling to Tennessee. I will say this, it has become, because it will be now, as we said, American books, and keeping the money in the state as well as the country, there will be more security. I do think that is a good thing. Actually ahead of the curve, and at least online sportsbook gambling. So it's something that is coming. And you know what? It probably is going to help out the interest in my show and sports as well. So maybe I should thank you for that, Rick Staples. We'll be back.
Welcome.
Yes. Yes. You were saying?
It's good to be ahead of the curve and not behind. Nobody thought that we could get this done. I was sounding like a crazy man to a lot of people when I presented last year what we were trying to do, and they thought I was insane for doing it. And I could have been insane, but we were able to get it done, and I think this is going to really benefit the state of Tennessee.
I can see it. I can see it. The online, like I said, right now there are still the avenues for everybody to bet online, but there isn't the security. And I think that now there's going to be more security for those bettors online and such. So we shall see how this pans out. Rick Staples, representative out of Knoxville, the fabulous 15th district. And yeah, you'll be able to put a little extra action online on the games this upcoming football season, as well as baseball season come July 1.